Musicians are always searching for the best possible instruments to play. Of course, that makes their performance even better. Now, while many of these instruments come from big, famous workshops, a few can take shape in less lavish settings. That's what Rob Wiles discovered when he paid a visit to mandolin maker Jonathan McClanahan.
Well, there it is, the grand old Opry House. When country music performers get there, they know they become stars. Long climb to that place, though, for the performers and the instruments that get them there. And a lot of times those climbs start in places that are, well, a little more humble. In a small shed in this working-class neighborhood, an accomplished instrument maker is at work. Maybe not the kind of place you'd expect to find someone whose work is being used by big-time musicians and craved by collectors. Jonathan McClanahan has seen the surprise on customers' faces when they visit him.
They are really, truly amazed that my mandolins comes out of that shop because it's a shed. It's not that I'm so proud to say that, but yet I'm not going to be ashamed to say that. You know, it is a shed. It's a shed that I build these mandolins out of.
And what mandolins they are, made by a man who's loved that instrument since the first time he heard one played by a master.
I remember the first time I ever saw the mandolin. I watched Bill Monroe on television one time. I was just intrigued from the very beginning, from the very start I ever saw his mandolin. I loved the scroll. I loved all the points on it and the different shapes, the F-holes and everything, and I just loved the sound of it.
Of course, Jonathan wanted to play like Bill Monroe, which led to him repairing his own instruments because, well, he just couldn't afford to have somebody do it for him.
Back a long time ago when I was playing music full-time for a living, it's expensive having repair work done. It's a specialty work. My mother and father, at the time, it was just financially constraining on them to pay for repair work. To make it easier on them, I just began to learn it myself.
Before sweet sounds can be coaxed out of one of his mandolins, there are other sounds to deal with.
I'm intrigued by the wood. Whenever I begin to work a piece of wood down, it constantly amazes me that you can take one tree, saw it at different angles, and get out of the same billet, you can get multiple variations of grain. I work a lot with curly maple. That's the predominant wood that I work with on my mandolins. That curly, whenever you take it and you graduate it down, I can turn it at different angles even before it's finished, and it will, what I call flashing. It will flash at you different grains, and it will look transparent as though it moves. That's just something that intrigues me. Every mandolin, it's just like it's my first one I ever built.
Jonathan gets to know each of his instruments personally since he spends quite a lot of quality time with and on each one.
I can start one and finish it within a month.
Still, that's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yes. There's many, many days that I'll put in 15, 16 hours a day.
You know, if you sort of cut the quality, you could probably make them quicker.
Oh, yeah. No, I wouldn't do that.
Well, why not?
Because I take my time. I make them one at a time. If someone orders a mandolin, I'm working on that mandolin from start to finish, and only that mandolin.
Cut a few corners, speed things up. You know, Jonathan could turn out instruments much faster, make more money, maybe move out of the shed that serves as his workshop and into a place like the big makers have. But Jonathan says he wouldn't cut corners. His big boss wouldn't approve of that.
I was born with this gift, and God gave me this gift. And I never acquired it myself. I never sought out for it myself. I just found out that it was in me. And I have 4 models. I named my first one The Witness because Jesus Christ sent them out 2 by 2. My second line is called The Descending Dove, which represents the Holy Spirit. The third line is called the Via Dolorosa, which is the pathway of the cross. And then my fourth line is the Trinity, which means the Holy Trinity. So it's very personal to me. When I first began to make these instruments, you know, I told God, I said, this is yours and not mine. You've entrusted this to me, and every mandolin I make for somebody, I do it as unto the Lord.
Which is why whether played on a huge concert stage with thousands listening or on a front porch for the family, Jonathan McClanahan's mandolins really do make a joyful noise.
Well, very talented and very dedicated. Thanks, Rob.